Hey, everybody, and welcome to Rolonda On Demand. I am absolutely thrilled that you're allowing me to be a part of your day because I have something I think is something worth talking about. What's happening with our police officers. And our guest today, Corey Pegues, I consider the preeminent expert in policing of Black and Brown people because he's been a top executive in the police force. And he was also a big street drug dealer back in the day. He went from top drug dealer to top cop. So he's been on both sides of the billy stick, you might say. Corey is going to come and talk with us about what's happening with our police officers, the SWAT team resigning in Florida, all the protests right now, not only with George Floyd, but we have Rashawn Brooks, and it just keeps going on. It just, when is it going to stop? Let's talk about what's going on in the departments, the police departments. What might be going on in the mind of a police officer? We know what's going on in the community, but let's kind of get some insight from Corey today, who is an ally of the community. And I want to know how he feels when police officers say, I quit because their chief takes a knee. What does that say about them? We're going to talk cops today here on Rolonda On Demand.
It's road time.
Welcome to Rolonda On Demand.
I love my podcast because we not only tackle the tough issues of the day, but we deal with hot topics, celebrity interviews, and information that can help you in your business or relationships.
This is Rolonda On Demand.
Just let me remind you real quick, don't forget to follow me on all forms of social media at Rolonda Watts, ROLONDAWATTS. Oh, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter. So come on out there and follow me. And don't forget IG as well. I am so thrilled to have Corey Pegues with us today. And let me tell you why. And I'm going to be totally transparent here. A few years ago, when I was about to give up totally on cops, and I love a lot of cops. Being a journalist, I work with a lot of NYPD. I've had good run-ins, bad run-ins, but for the most part, I think that after one Black Lives Matter movement and after another one, I was starting to lose a little hope. And then I went on a book tour and I met Corey Pegues, who had written a book called Once a Cop. And I got to talking with him. And you know what? He kind of like saved me. Corey, you don't know that part, do you? I was having some isms about police. And I was like looking, that's an ism when I look at the entire police department as bad, because I know there are good cops there. And I met you as one who is not only, I call you the preeminent expert because you've been on both sides of the billy stick, you might say, or bully stick, some people might say today. But I know that you're here to give us some insight. I believe that we need some insight from some of the good cops, because all we're seeing and hearing about is the rogues. So, Corey, I'm glad you're joining us today. I think my audience really needs to hear what you have to say. How are you doing with all of the stuff going on in life?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I've been waiting to get on this podcast for a long time. So I'm happy to be here. As far as how I'm feeling about what's going on, I'm pretty much numb to these things. Just a week ago, actually, I was doing an interview with somebody, and I told them, I said, listen, something's going to happen again within the next 30 days. It's just imminent. This is what happens. When you have such a deeply embedded culture of policing and their mindset is us against them, you're going to continue. And I'm telling you on your podcast, within the next 60 days, there will be, and another one. I sent out a tweet today, and, the Black culture is, the word is, and another one.
And another one, and another one, another, to a point where it's blinding, it's deafening, it's so absurd. But I think what we as a culture are really understanding, Corey, is how ingrained in the system these things are. I mean, are these people who are acting out their own personal things, or is this a system that is perpetuating you to act this way? And I'm not saying all cops, disclaimer at the beginning, okay? But I'm just saying what we're seeing needs to be addressed right here. I mean, what is that? And I know you're not in the minds of these people, but what are you thinking when you're sitting at home? I'm not saying Monday night quarterbacking, but as you're looking at the stuff you know is happening.
Well, it's twofold. It's a little bit of people bringing their implicit biases to work, and then it's the overt racism that's embedded in law enforcement or in America, anyway, from education to policing. It's just America. There's racism everywhere, from housing, education, policing, healthcare. So we have to acknowledge that all of that stuff is already there. So the problem is, in policing, you have the right to take a life with deadly physical force is being used against you or someone else imminently. It's not like the teacher putting a lesson plan together. It's just a heavy responsibility, and some people are not built for it. And if we don't change the culture, it's like you have a virus. It's just like this COVID virus. We're not going to be able to fix it till we have a cure.
That's right.
The cure for policing is to root out all of the corruption and restructure, not defund, restructure the way the police departments are operating around the country.
Well, now let's deal with that whole defund thing. What does that really mean? When you say defund, to me, it means take all the money out the department. What does that mean?
Exactly. So, yeah, I hate whoever came up with this, because people are thinking when they say defund, they think like this should get rid of the police. No, we're not getting rid of the police. The most glaring example of a defunding or restructuring of a police department is Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey was I think it's the second or third most violent place in America. So this is what they did. To restructure the police department, they got rid of Camden Police Department and just renamed it to Metro. Camden Metro kept the officers in Camden Police Department, but told them they all had to apply for this new police department. They came with a new contract. They had to renegotiate the contract with the city. New officers, they was vetted all the way down. They all didn't come over to the new police department. And now, without taking up all the time, Camden Police Department is the prototype police department for restructuring around America. So it wasn't defunding. And for me, defunding is just like in New York City. Education got to loosen up some money. Health and hospital got to loosen up some money. So police departments can find ways to free up some money, because when all other budgets are going down, law enforcement budgets are going up. There got to be a way to defund, meaning bring some of that money down, maybe through attrition. Do we need 40,000 cops in New York City? 4,000 retire next year. Maybe we just only fill up 3,000 slots. That's part of defunding, just finding some other money and sources, and you reallocate that money to something else, maybe like a PAL or, a homeless outreach program, something that help in these socioeconomic areas that's always over-policed, and trying to help bridge that gap between policing and the community.
Well, you know what? When I just heard as of today, and by the time this podcast airs, who knows what may happen? That's just the world we live in today. Something else will happen. But as of today, the big story is all of these Florida SWAT team members who have gone in and turned in their resignation because their head guy took a kneel with the community. I'm part of me was like, good riddance, get the heck out of here, because clearly you're not with the community. So glad you volunteered to leave. Then there's another part of me that goes, what the hell is that about? I mean, what was your knee-jerk reaction when you saw that or you heard that news?
My reaction was actually like, it's good, because there's one thing in policing, high priority positions, high profile positions like SWAT, you got hundreds of cops waiting to take your job.
That's
Nobody
right. Nobody
cares if you quit. Bye. Sayonara. See you another day. And all we do is train up some other people. You definitely violated your oath of office by refusing or stepping down. And then you just speak to the corporation counsel or the lawyers to find ways for all those people that quit to fire them.
Right. And the way I look at it is you just peep your card. Now we know who you are. My fear is where you're about to go next. Because if you like shooting brown and black people, you're probably going to join some crazy group. if you
Well,
can't be part of the SWAT team members.
they're probably already in these other groups. All of these races, KKK and crazy staunch conservative groups, they're probably already a part of that. And it's funny because you can see like some of these people, they can't even take it no more. It's all coming to the surface right now. All of their feelings, everything that they're thinking in their mind is coming to fruition. But the mayor of Atlanta is showing that she's not playing any games.
That's right. I am loving Keisha. She might be our vice president. You never know.
That's the type of leadership we need right now. No
That's
nonsense.
right.
I don't think any move that she made to fire 3 cops in the last month, I think they was all warranted for the decisions that they made. And that stuff reverberates around the country, especially it reverberates in your police department.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. How many people do you think who are like the KKK types, who are like kill all the black and brown people, join the police department to do just that?
I wouldn't know, but I would, if I was guessing person, I think it's a very, very small, minute percentage, depending on where you are. In America also. New York City, melting pot.
Right. I mean, listen, there's part of my North Carolina roots coming out here wondering too.
Right. You understand that you live in Boise, Idaho, different ball game, different mindset, deep in the woods in Alabama, different mindset. So it just really depends on where you are in America. And it's clear, you can clearly see the stuff that goes on. It's clear.
Let's talk about the latest shooting, the latest killing, murder, call it what you want. That's what I look at it as. The Rayshard Brooks at the Wendy's. This is a guy who, police suspect he might have had some drinks. He wasn't even driving. He was asleep in his car. And, they try to taser him. The guy takes the taser. Yes, he probably shouldn't have taken the taser and run, but that's not why you should die. What are you looking at in this whole situation with Rayshard Brooks?
Well, when I look at this Rayshard Brooks case, the first thing that comes to mind to me is police departments around the country preach to their officers, instead of using your firearm and deadly physical force, use alternative means such as non-lethal procedures. Your fist, mace, a baton, or a taser. So the police are stuck between a rock and a hard place right now, because they're preaching to the cops, use the taser as a non-lethal weapon, but now they kill somebody when the taser is pointed at the cop. You can't have your cake and ice cream. It's either non-lethal device or imminent physical danger of death right now.
Yeah, but a taser isn't going to kill you. So I know it's not right that Rayshard took the taser. And if he shot it at the police, that wasn't going to kill the cop.
But that's the argument I'm making. It's not a deadly weapon. It can be. If you have a pacemaker and I shoot you with a taser, you're going to die. You're going to die. Yeah, because you got to. But we know the cop don't have a pacemaker because he can't be in the streets. I was on the show this morning with another analyst who said, well, if we didn't engage this person, you would have had a drunk man running the community with a taser. And I'm like, well, we have drunk people walking the community with 9mm and 45s and shotguns every day. And
of all colors.
Right, of all colors. And the cops are not doing anything about this. So I'm not buying it. It was a non-lethal. What we believe in policing is a non-lethal device. He already deployed the prongs, so it would have been inoperable already if he would have left the scene with the taser. Tasers get taken from cops every single day. Guns get taken from cops. Radios get taken from cops. The only thing, this guy, God bless Brooks, he was murdered because, one, he outran the guy, and two, he couldn't fight. He got punched in the face. Those are the two reasons why Brooks is dead today. There's no other reason.
Because he shamed the cop.
Yeah.
He shamed the punk cop who lost his taser, couldn't even shoot his taser right, couldn't run after him. See, my thing is, you don't have to kill somebody. The car is right there. You have his driver's license already. Go pick him up at mom and them's house later. You don't have to kill the guy.
What you do is, what he could have done was what police do all the time. Radio a clear description, set up a zone, a perimeter, isolate, contain, and call an emergency service once he barricades himself. Simple stuff. 1, 2, 3, right by the numbers, ABC. it should not warrant him being, but he got killed because of the machismo of the police officer and his feelings were hurt. And why
His
did
feelings were hurt. He says on the tape, he took my fucking taser.
Yeah.
So it just sounds to me like he had a vendetta after this guy for shaming him.
He was enraged.
Machismo.
Yes, his beer muscles was getting bigger at that point, and he was like, I gotta get back at him because he doesn't want to take a little bit of mud in his face, which officers should be willing to do, just taking the job, because everybody's not going to turn around and give you their hands. So
well, let me ask you the honest to God truth. Had the guy gone back and not been the machismo and killed a black man, and let's say he let it go and he went back to his department, those guys are going to let him have it. Those guys and those women fellow officers are going to let him have it. Let's face it, because he dropped his freaking taser. He's like a bumbling cop.
Oh, most definitely. But guess what? He wouldn't be blasted on the front page of every newspaper in the world today. His wife and kids he still have his house, 2 cars, white picket fence. Wouldn't be having to worry about facing some jail time. He's looking at murder charge right now.
Oh, good. He should be. He should be.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm just taking a hard line here. And I feel so sorry. People say there are good cops out there too. Well, that's great. But if they don't stand up, are good cops standing up in these departments? I mean, I see what happened with the SWAT team in Florida. So I see yes. But I mean, throughout, I just know there are good cops in there, Corey, like you and a lot of other cops that I know who are good people.
The problem is you can't keep saying that there's good cops when America is only seeing bad cops on videos.
Right.
So America is waiting to see a cop engage another police officer before they kill somebody and say, stop. That's when America's going to, right now, America don't believe it's good cops because all we're seeing on television is bad cops. Mm-hmm. Look, Eric Garner, 10 people on the scene, 10 cops on the scene, nobody did anything. Mm-hmm. George Floyd, 4 cops there, nobody did anything. Brooks, 2 cops there, nobody saved his life. So and now we got 3 incidents where if I'm a civilian, I'm thinking 100% of the cops are bad because nobody's doing it. So that's what America's looking at. So you can't, the governors, mayors, and police commissioners can't keep saying there's good cops because where are they?
Well, something, it's kind of like what's happening with the black community. All we see with black community is young black men in handcuffs, young black men in body bags, young black men, so it's almost the same kind of thing that you can't get a good black man on TV news and you can't get a good black cop or any kind of cop. It's like, it's almost ironic that the same kind of bad PR or bad image is out there that tends to perpetuate these things.
Yeah, well, you know what? Listen, it's about time. I always say if dead men could talk, there's millions of dead black men by cops, men and women, that didn't have a video to prove they're innocent. Before, police officers used to kill somebody, go in the back room, create the narrative, say, hey, we getting ready to go in front of Rolonda Watts. Channel said they come in with the cameras, this is the story, boom, boom, boom.
That's right.
But now cops can't control the narrative no more. They can't control the narrative, so they don't even know what the hell to do. They can't make the stories up. And for the life of me, I don't understand why everybody's not like Keisha Bottom saying, look, you can't bamboozle me with my eyes. I see what I saw. I don't care about your nonsense. It's like the Floyd case. The first thing that Minneapolis came out with was he was a resisting arrest. And then the video comes back and says, oh, we got to retract the statement. They're still trying to create a narrative that you can't create no more.
That's right.
Everywhere.
Look, the genie's out the bottle.
The gig is up. Like I keep saying, bad cops, the gig is up. It's over.
Yeah. Let's go back to the 80s, Corey, when we were in the streets. I was a news reporter in New York City. You were a cop and doing your thing. Do you remember Eleanor Bumpers, the first case?
Of course. Back
in the day in New York City.
Yes.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. They had to have a story, which still to this day doesn't make sense, how an older deranged woman, you already shot off her fingers. Now you got to blow her up too? I mean, come on. This is when it began. And you're right. Being a news reporter, they had the narrative down. We weren't there. We couldn't, as crazy as this stuff sounded, maybe she did turn into a 18-foot giant that turned green and was going to eat up the police officers, and that's why they shot her. We weren't there. We didn't have the video that we have today. So you're right. You look at the consistency, another, and now maybe this might be the screech. Maybe we might see those skid marks in the asphalt today.
I doubt it. I have zero confidence in police structure in America because the only way you could change it, you're gonna have to get rid of all the cops, which we can't do, or change their mindset because it's a culture. And so the only way to change the mindset, you got to be consistent. Every single day has to be something that's reinforced constantly that we're going to police good in Black and brown communities. But it has to be brought in from top down. If the cop is buying in and it's not getting to the janitor, it don't work. Mm-hmm. And if you got somebody in the middle disrupting you, you got to chop his head off. Mm-hmm. So this is real leadership 101. And they're not really ready and focused for leadership because in policing, I know in my career, most leaders want to be liked. They don't want to lead. They want to be liked.
Mm-hmm. Purpose might be more important than popularity today. Things may be changing. Corey, what do we, I know you are a big proponent, and as a father yourself, you're a big proponent to the community, and I've seen you out there in the marches. You put your faith in your position where your feet are, and I appreciate that. But your whole thing to the community is comply. No matter what, it's better comply, and you can complain later, but save your life. Yes. What else do you say to the community? Because this stuff is going to continue. So in the meantime, or what do you tell your kids? You've got almost grown sons.
I got grown kids and young kids. So, listen, and I'm preaching to them to comply because the other alternative just doesn't work. Even when people tell me, I'm on Lana Van Zandt, and you saying Fernando Castillo should have complied. Listen, I'm not going to be armed with a gun and reaching for anything. When a cop is involved, I don't care if it's a carry state or not. You have to make sure you get home because the ultimate goal is getting back home, live to see another day. Is it embarrassing that a grown man is talking to you any kind of way? Yeah, it hurts, especially if you got your wife and kids in the car and some cop is berating you. But you know what? Right then, you got to make a decision. What am I going to do? Because it only could go south. These situations, you got to understand, they have the gun, they have the legal authority, and then they have this thing called I was in fear of my safety, where they're going to end up killing you if they can articulate that. And that's the problem with y'all see cops getting off on all of these cases because they have that right to say if they was in fear of their life, that's why they took the action. And the jury can't be inside of a cop's mind at that moment. So why even play games with them? Why? Most times I get pulled over, show my ID. If I don't show my police ID, obviously they let me go. But if I just show my license, I don't say I was a cop. I just want to get out of there. What do you need me to do? All right. I got my hands on the steering wheel. My dome light is on. I'm not reaching. Every time they ask me for a license, I'm going to tell them my license is in my right back pocket. May I reach for it now, sir? By the way, I do have a gun on that side. I don't want to reach. Take me out of the vehicle. Take my firearm off. These are just things that people have a problem with it. But I know it's just part of being Black. That's what you got to do because it's not going to change.
That's deep. I don't know. I think there needs to be a whole lesson plan on how to deal with a cop. I
have the lesson plan.
I know you do. Tell them.
I do a PowerPoint presentation called Police Citizens Encounters, and I talk about stops in the streets, stops in the vehicles, and police in your home, stops in your home. So anybody can reach me at CoreyPegues.com to hire me to come to that community and give this presentation.
And let Corey do that because Corey's just down home, real deal. You get what you see is what you get, and he tells the truth from both ends. Now
the audience also have to know. I have a daughter that's a cop. I have a nephew that's a cop, and a bunch of friends. So when I talk about the cops, I'm really just talking about bad police officers and bad police policies. Those are the things. if we could get rid of those two things, we could have a harmonious relationship in America with the police and the communities in which they serve.
Well, I appreciate that you tell it like a TI is, but you also give us hope and actionable plans. That's the other thing. You know, Corey will give you actionable plans. If you want to hear Corey's story, and let me tell you, it is an amazing story. You've had an amazing life, Corey. Going from top street drug dealer to top executive cop and all in between. His book is Once a Cop. Pick it up. You're at home, sitting there, and you're already surrounded by all this talk. Read Corey's story. And for those of you who are community leaders or who have some type of leadership among young people in particular, contact Corey. You can reach him. Corey, tell us where to reach you, because I want you to be a go-to person when folks need to understand this and know what to do.
The best way to reach me is on my website, CoreyPegues.com. That's CoreyPegues.com. And then, you know, I have contact information, drop down menu, and you can reach out to me. This is the time. Listen, if there's never been another time for change, it's here. I'm not very hopeful for it, but especially on the federal level, people have to understand your change got to be in your community. It's local change is what's going to affect you. You got to go to your community council meeting. Like where I live, the police department is only 50 cops. I know the police commissioner. I know the mayor. I know the sanitation person. You know, I'm involved. Like you have to know who do you know. When I walk in the room, they go, "Oh, here comes Corey, yo."
Y'all better be right.
Tough questions, you know, money for taxes. Of course, I want to be involved. The school board meeting, everything counts. We're so stuck on Trump in this presidential election. That's not going to affect you immediately. That takes the Republicans and Democrats can't even say hi to each other. But you locally, it's like Ferguson, right? I always go back to the Mike Brown killing, and once he got murdered, we found out that the community was 98% black, but the police department was 98% white. The school board was 98% white. I did, for the life of me, that was just telling me that people wasn't voting and being involved in their community.
Not at all. And and Corey, it kind of frightens me, and all of us, including myself, could be a little bit more involved, of how little we really know about our own communities. And you're right. If the long arm can't reach Trump, you can certainly reach in your own community and get to know and let the people know that you're interested. That kind of keeps people on track too when they know you're watching them. So that's a great piece of advice. Anything else that you want to say before we say goodbye?
Well, I just want people to look out for my documentary that's coming out, A Cop and Robber's Story. You could go to theguardian.com and see a snippet, a 20-minute piece of it now. And we're in talks to start releasing the feature documentary coming out this year in the next few months. So that's it.
That's fantastic.
Each time, let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We're in for change. Corey Pegues, thank you so very much. I appreciate your being here on Rolonda On Demand.
Thank you. Thanks, sis.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Corey Pegues. I hope to bring you plenty more good podcasts, and I hope you'll stay tuned. Please be sure to subscribe, and please tell some friends. And also, leave me a rating if you will. That might help get me some more listeners. Anyway, have a great day, and thank you so much. Whether you're out there joining the forces on the movement of Black Lives Matter, or you're staying at home, doing what you can at home, or you're reinventing your business because of today's changes and requirements for change, just whatever you do something good. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time here on Rolonda On Demand. Hey guys.